Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You guys may recall that a couple weeks ago I dropped a video featuring an MRE from Buc-ee's that was built for me and sent by my dear friend Mr. Fish. Now while the MRE did get mixed reviews, some people thought it was great, some people thought it was a little lacking, and that's understandable. Having somebody else go out and try to do this is harder than it sounds. I mean, honestly, sometimes I find these things really hard, and this one today is no exception. So over the weekend, the family and I were traveling through Texas and we had the chance to stop at Buc-ee's ourselves. Now, if you've never been to Buc-ee's, this place is massive. I mean, it's got to be the world's largest convenience store. I mean, I don't even know what else to call it. You can't call it a truck stop because my understanding is they don't allow trucks there. But there's a whole lot of cars stopping there. So as a follow-up to the MRE that Mr. Fish sent, I wanted to go and try to do one for myself. I mean, I know what I'm looking for. I know my rules. I know how to shop for it. So I figured I'll give it a go. But let me tell you something, I ran into some issues. Before we cover the issues, let me go ahead and lay the rules out for how I build my MREs. Rule number one is that everything in here must be able to be eaten straight out of the package. Nothing reconstituted, nothing rehydrated, with the exception, of course, of if we have a tea bag or coffee or something like that that needs to be mixed. And that doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to eat everything straight out of the package or that we're going to eat it without any preparation. That just means we have to be able to. Rule number two is that everything that I put in here has to have at least a 1-year shelf life from the day that I bought it. And that is strictly to ensure that if I have to put this thing aside for a while, that it's as fresh as possible when I get around to eating it. And rule number three is the menu. This MRE must have an entree, a side, a walking around snack, a dessert, and a beverage. So with all that in mind, let's talk about the issue that I ran into getting these items. I want to show you guys something. This is the entirety of the prepared shelf-stable food section at Buc-ee's. There's not a lot to choose from here. You know, part of the strategy with Buc-ee's is that they don't really want you buying a bunch of bulk items that you're going to fix yourself. They want you spending your money on the things that they're preparing or the things that they're selling directly out of their pantries and coolers. They want you to buy that brisket sandwich, they want you to buy a slushie, and they want you to buy some fudge. They're not really there to stock your pantry. So the first issue that I ran into was trying to find anything that resembled an entree that was shelf stable and prepared. And it was at this point that I realized I got to back up, I got to strategize, I got to adapt and overcome because I'm not going to be able to do this here. So what I did was I stood back and thought about it for a second and said, if I can't build an MRE, maybe I can build a C-Ration. So if y'all remember my recent C-Ration video, essentially C-Rations were the predecessors to the MREs. They consisted of canned foods that were packaged together like a meal. Some of these things bring back great memories for people, some not so much. But I decided on the fly, if I'm going to do this, the only way it's going to be able to happen is to do a C-Ration. So that's what I did. So let me present to you the Dad Budget Adventures Combat Ration Menu BE1. This is my C-Ration from Buc-ee's. So what's in a C-Ration from Buc-ee's? Let's open it and find out. I'm gonna break out my vintage US Navy utility knife and open this bad boy up. And before I show you the items, I want to say one last thing. Because of what I was given to work with, some of these items you may just disregard. But one thing that I did try to do, I wanted to include items that would work as a C-Ration, but I also wanted to make sure there were some Buc-ee's brand items in here too. Because what would be the use in putting together a C-Ration at Buc-ee's if nothing in there had the beaver on the label? So I'm going to reach in here and see what we can pull out. So the first thing we've got in here is our accessory pack. And just like the last one, I'm going to show you really quick what's in here. I made these specially for my C-Rations, and they were intended to include a lot of the items that you would have found in a traditional C-Ration. So we're going to tear this open and see what we've got. As quick as I can go through this, we've got one of our bamboo sporks. By the way, if you're interested in these things, I've got an affiliate link in the description box down below where you can go check them out. I am a really big fan of these things. We have our traditional military issued matches, a pack of this stuff, a moist towelette, pack of chiclets, and I think we're gonna need those, pack of salt, got a pack of KFC hot sauce, and a pack of cigs. All right, so let's see what we got in here to eat. The first thing in our Buc-ee's C-Ration is our entree. I picked up a can of Wolf brand chili with beans. Now, I don't remember if C-Rations had chili, but for the purposes of this video, I didn't want to just grab spaghetti like I had in our last video, and SpaghettiOs would have just kind of been a play on the same theme. So I decided to grab the Wolf brand chili. It's going to be a good hearty meal. I could have grabbed some soup and thrown it in here, but as we discovered with a previous video, soup isn't always the best choice for a primary entree. It tends to be mostly water and not a whole lot of filling. But this, I think, is going to work out really well. As our side, I picked up a can of Pringles. One of the things that really surprised me about this product was that it had a good long shelf life on it. I really didn't expect that I was going to be able to find something in a durable container like this that had a decent shelf life. And to be honest with you, most chips in bags are not really designed for long life. They're designed for quick use. And because of the type of packaging they have, they do tend to go stale quickly. So I was really happy to find that not only did these have the canister style container, which made them a little bit more like something you would find in an MRE, but that they did have a good shelf life on them. For our walking around snack, this is one of our Buc-ee's brand items. I picked up a pack of Southwest Trail Mix. I figured the Southwest flavor would go really well with the chili. This has peanuts, it has spicy jalapeno sesame sticks, and an assortment of other goodies that are gonna make this the perfect walking around snack. For those times when you get a little peckish in between meals, or if you just wanna eat this to get extra full with dinner. So for dessert, I got a twofold dessert. One of them being, because I'm doing a C-Ration and I wanted to stay as traditional as I could, I picked up a can of fruit cocktail. Once again, good long shelf life. The great thing over canned goods as opposed to pouch foods is that cans tend to be a much more secure way to store food for a long period. Pouch foods are designed for weight and convenience, whereas cans are designed to keep your food good a little bit longer. That's the great benefit of packing C-Rations as opposed to MREs, is that you can count on them to probably be a little bit better, a little bit longer. The other part of our dessert, and once again, something that I wanted to go kind of in the traditional direction of a C-Ration, is I got some chocolate. Y'all know how I feel about chocolate in my MREs and C-Rations. And what I picked up was one of the Buc-ee's Overbite chocolate covered cookies. This one is milk chocolate and peanut butter. This thing is solid. I've never tried one of these before, but it feels like a heck of a hunk of chocolate. And it's got the beaver's face on it. So looking forward to trying that. This is our little chocolate disc, and that's something that traditionally would not be unheard of in a C-Ration, is chocolate discs. And the last thing in our C-Ration is our drink. Now, one of the problems that I ran into is that nowhere in the store could I find packaged beverages that were not already made up. Couldn't find tea bags. Now, there were tea bags at the coffee station, and I thought about just getting one of those and throwing it in here, but I did not want to complicate things by going up front with a tea bag and going, how much for the tea bag? I also didn't want to pay a ridiculous amount of money for a single tea bag. So I had to go into the cooler. So what I got was this Super Coffee double shot espresso and cream in vanilla. Once again, great shelf life on it. I think this is gonna be a great way to get that coffee flavor with dinner. It's in a good sturdy can. There's something about these smaller sized cans like this that they tend to feel a little bit more durable, like they can actually take a little bit of abuse. So putting something like this in as a drink to go with your C-Ration, I'd say that's gonna be a win. All right, so now I'm gonna jump in and get my chili cooking, then we're gonna come back and taste some of these other items. So we're cooking up the chili tonight in a traditional USGI mess kit. This one's got a stamp of 1945 on it. I am a huge fan of vintage camping equipment and military surplus. The way I look at it, these things were designed a long time ago to serve a very specific function, and to this day, they still hold up. And it's still hard to beat the design. So until somebody gives me a reason otherwise, I'd just as soon cook with something like that. All right, so let's see what else we've got in our kit. Of course, we've got our can of Pringles for our side. Can't lie to you and tell you I've never had these before. I think if these were to go off the market, my wife might just curl up and die. This is her favorite travel food. Anytime we're going on a trip, I ask her, what do you need for the road? I don't even have to ask anymore. She wants Pringles. So if you're unaware, Pringles used to be called Pringles potato chips. But because of the particular way that they're made, they ended up in a legal battle and had to change the name because these are not potato chips. These are made out of potato flakes that are rehydrated, pressed, and then cooked up. So it's now a potato crisp. That little Esprit stove back there is a very efficient cooker. I keep having to stop and stir that a little bit so that it doesn't burn. So that's a little bit of a distraction. Next up, we're gonna try our walking around snack. This is our Southwest Trail Mix. Got the beaver's face on there. I like that this has nuts and sesame sticks in it, and these are jalapeno cheddar sesame sticks, so you know that's gonna be good. I had to take it off the heat and blow out the Esbit stove because this thing was bubbling away. I did not want to eat burnt chili tonight. All right, let's get back to this. This is our Southwest Trail Mix. This should have a little bit of a heat to it, so let's see what we got. It's got a very sweet peanut smell to it, so I'm guessing there's probably a little bit of sugar in here. That's mostly what I'm picking up on. I'm not getting heat, I'm not getting jalapeno, I'm getting mostly sweet and peanut. But sweet and salty is one of my favorite combinations. Looks like we got a little bit of everything in there. Got some peanuts, got some of the little sesame sticks, got some corn nuts in there. Y'all are corn nut fans? This thing's gonna have some crunch to it. All right, let's give this a go. That's got a really good flavor to it. It does pack a little heat, and it sticks around for a minute. Get another bite of that. A couple more of those sesame sticks in there. That's the stuff right there. Next thing, I need to pop open this beverage because not only are these things just a little bit hot, they're extremely salty. Very thirst-provoking product. Not something you want to eat if you don't have something to wash it down with. All right, let's give our Super Coffee Espresso and Cream Double Shot Vanilla a try. Ooh, okay. That's a super strong vanilla smell. I mean, this is as close as it's been to my nose since I opened it. Very strong smell. It's got a very sweet, creamy vanilla aroma to it. Very enticing smell. Let's give this a shot. Wash down some of that trail mix. It's slightly bitter, a little bit sweet, maybe a lot sweet once I start drinking more of it, but it's also a little on the thin side. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Yoo-hoo in that you drink something like this, you kind of expect a heavy kind of texture to it. But this is a very thin, almost watery texture, which is a little weird given the flavor that's coming out of this. But it's not bad. It would probably be a lot better poured over ice or hot, but lukewarm out of the package, it's not terrible. But it's not something that I would go, hey, bring me one of those off the counter. I'm gonna sit back and enjoy this. I've said it before, I like hot things hot and cold things cold. Lukewarm, not really my bag. But I don't hate it. It's pretty decent. It's got a decent flavor to it. I would much rather have fresh brewed coffee, or if I'm gonna do iced coffee, fresh brewed iced coffee. But for the purposes of this dinner, it's not too bad. Get another bite of that. So I had somebody in the comments of a recent video ask about the fact that they saw me take a bite and then I would edit. And they were a little bit curious about that. They were asking, you know, did I spill something? Did something happen? If you watch my videos, you'll notice that that's the way I always edit. I don't like to watch other people eat. I don't mind, I said that wrong. I don't mind watching them eat so much as I don't like watching them chew. Once you put food in your mouth, the rest of the process is kind of gross. And when I'm wearing a microphone right here, you can hear everything. When I'm editing this footage, it makes me cringe sometimes at the sounds that come out of my face. So out of respect for you, my audience, once I take a bite, I cut away, and that way you don't have to listen to me chewing. You're welcome. Want some more of that? All right, let's give our chili a try. Another great thing about the design of these mess kits is this big old handle. Not only does it hold the serving plate in place when it's closed up, it also keeps it way out of the fire. So you can still pick this up without burning your hand. How about this Wolf brand chili? It's not pretty. I love homemade chili. This has a weird look to it. It smells good. I mean, it smells like canned chili. If you like canned chili, you know, probably don't mind the smell. People that like really good fresh chili though, it's hard to eat canned chili and not turn your nose up at it. But in the right environment, you learn to live with it. It's got that kind of sharpness to the aroma that hits you when it comes to things like canned chili. There are certain seasonings and certain aromas that just really hit the front of your nose. And I think that's probably the thing that makes a lot of people dislike canned chili. It's probably not the flavor so much as the smell, because it is part of the process. But let's get a bite of this, see how this canned chili is. Got nice and steamy. That little Esbit stove did a good job with that. All right, let's give this a go. This one's got a little heat to it. Kind of surprised. Wasn't expecting that. It's a decent enough chili with a decent enough flavor. But let's kick it up. Let's take our little pack of hot sauce. Throw that in there. See what this does for it. In case y'all ever wonder, I keep a trash bag right here at my feet. Spoiling the behind the scenes magic, I know, I'm sorry. But I keep a trash bag right here by my feet because I tear a lot of things off and I have to go looking for a place to put it. So I just started keeping a trash bag right here. So if you ever wonder what the inside of my studio looks like, it's trash. Right there. All right, let's give this a try with that KFC hot sauce. It really didn't seem to turn the heat up much, but it did add a little twinge of flavor to it. Gave it a little different palate. So since we're trying things out, I always like to experiment a little bit when I have the capability because of the things that I brought to this particular meal. So I have some friends that were telling me that every time they make chili, they make peanut butter sandwiches to go with it. I thought it was the weirdest thing in the world when I first heard of it, but everybody I've ever talked to who's tried it says they love it. So I'm gonna throw some of these peanuts and some of this other stuff in with the chili. See how this spicy Southwest mix kicks up or kicks out this chili. So what are your thoughts on peanut butter and chili? Do you put it in your chili? Do you make sandwiches to go with your chili? Drop me a comment and tell me about it. Here we go. Let's give this a try. That's pretty interesting. It gives the chili a little crunch and texture, a little bit of sweetness, and that peanut flavor really works. Crazy, huh? All right, let's put that aside because we have other things to try. Next, we've got our Del Monte fruit cocktail. This, I expect, will be a really good finish for that meal when it comes to knocking some of that spice out of your mouth. So here we've got grapes, peaches, the occasional cherry, maybe some pineapple. Pretty good blend, and that thing's packed out. I used to love this stuff when I was a kid. It's one of those things that I don't think about very often, so I don't tend to buy it a lot. So when I spotted this at Buc-ee's, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go with that. So let's give this a try. See if it'll take a little bit of that heat out of my mouth. There you go. Let's get another one. You know, the thing about fruit cocktail is because they chop it up, throw it in with this syrup, a lot of the fruit just kind of tastes like everything else. The peaches tend to have a little stronger flavor and that stands out. But it's kind of like eating Fruit Loops and trying to convince yourself that all the different colors taste different. So one thing that's really good when it comes to fruit cocktail is if you've got like some butter cookies or some shortbread cookies or something, crush them up in that. Tastes kind of like cobbler. All right, everybody, we got one more thing to try, and I'm really looking forward to this. We have our Buc-ee's Overbite chocolate cookie. I've seen these things before, but just never tried one. But this thing has got some heft to it. This thing could double as a blunt weapon or a hockey puck. But let's tear into it and see what this thing's all about. Ooh, there's the peanut butter. It just erupted out of the bag right up my nose. Very much smells like a Reese's. Got the beaver head on it, and looks like it's got beaver poop on the back. This thing smells really good. The chocolate has a really rich aroma to it, and the peanut butter is there too, but neither one's really just overwhelming the other. So I'll be curious to see if the flavor is the same way. Let's give this a try, see what we got here. Essentially, it is a big fat peanut butter cup. Look at that. Look how much stuff is in the middle of that. Going back in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are fans of peanut butter and chocolate, get you one of these. Look at this thing. That is a massive peanut butter cup. That's really good, but I'm gonna have to stop there. The upside is I can look forward to it being there a little bit later, unless somebody else in the house finds it first. I'm gonna have to hide this. Let's use our C-Ration towelette, clean up a little bit. And this is a good time to tell you, if you're enjoying this content, if you like these homemade MREs and homemade C-Rations, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also hit that notification bell so that you can be made aware of all upcoming videos. Be sure and like this one and take a second and drop a comment, even if it's to say, hey, how you doing? Or like a lot of people have started doing and just pop in and say, I'm just leaving a comment to help the algorithm. I have found such a supportive audience here. You guys get it. You understand how hard it is to be successful on YouTube. The algorithm is not my friend, but with your support, your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, it is really helping to move things along for this channel, and I truly do appreciate it. I love all the suggestions you guys leave me for places that I can go to try to build a homemade MRE. Every once in a while I find new places, but I'm worried I'm gonna run out of spots, so you guys keep those comments coming and tell me where I need to go next. I've got a trip coming up this following weekend where I'm gonna hit up a couple of places that I don't have anywhere near here. And while we were in Texas, we made another stop, and you guys are absolutely gonna love what I'm bringing for that video. So as I wrap this one up, let me get my little candy stick out of here. Thank you again for all the love and support. I'm having so much fun with this, and I hope you guys are too. But until the next one, prepare for the world you live in, not the one you wish existed. And we'll see you around.